What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Blitz podcast. I'm your host, Easy. With me, as always, is the digital doctor himself, Louie.
What's poppin'?
If y'all haven't already, make sure to like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. What's going on with you, Louie?
Everything's good where I'm at, but I'm sure you heard L.A. and what's going on out there.
Them wildfires, man. How do them things even start? How does that happen?
Well, apparently there's been a drought, so everything was really dry. I don't know. If you ask different people, everybody's going to tell you something different.
Man, I saw pictures.
It's common because it's like brush fires and stuff, but apparently a lot has been going on with this one.
So is it like people out there camping and everything, and they not putting out their fires? Is it that, or is it, it's just crazy to me that those kind of fires, and they can get that bad.
Yeah, so apparently this is the worst yet in history. This is like the worst ever. But over like 35,000 acres have burned. Yeah. And it's like different fires too. So scattered all around LA.
It's crazy, man. Like I seen the pictures and they shown like the before and the after.
Yeah, it's wild.
And man, I feel so bad for all of the families and the wildlife, because like people get kind of sucked into this vacuum when these natural disasters happen, and they forget that we are not alone on this planet. There are animals, all kinds of other living species on this planet that are affected.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen videos on social media and stuff already of like, mountain lions and stuff walking down the freeway, all fur, all black. Like there's like wildlife trying to escape all of that right now too. So it's kind of crazy. It's interesting to see. Not interesting. It's terrible.
But I mean,
yeah, I was going to say, hearts go out to all the families. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of homes
absolutely
that have been destroyed.
And not to be insensitive to people in general, but we talking to the working class people, not you movie stars who are going to be able to buy another house and, hopefully none of your personal, none of your people are hurt, right? Because it don't matter how much money you have, you don't want nobody to get hurt. But,
But apparently there's a lot going on around it as well, because I don't know if you heard recently about the insurance issues in California.
How is that legal?
A lot of companies were pulling out and not trying to provide homeowners insurance to a lot of those people in California.
Yeah,
all of that's happening. You know what I'm saying?
How is that legal? Like, I saw a breakdown, and it was like there were insurance companies that 2 or 3 days before somebody's house burned down, they had called and told them that their coverage was canceled.
Man, I don't know.
And it's like, this person's been paying their monthly premium every month for 30 years, and out of the blue, you just magically come and cancel. Like, I don't even know how that's legal.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, I definitely don't.
Somebody comment below and let us know how that kind of stuff is legal. If there's any legal
experts that understand all of that as well. I mean, but so briefly, this is like, I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, but I read an article talking about how the state ended up taking over a lot of those insuring a lot of those homes or something, this, that, or whatever, when a lot of those companies pulled out.
I've heard of that.
And there just isn't enough, like the amount of devastation that happened, like the state doesn't have that much money to pay out and help. Like,
something,
just don't have that much money.
That's where the federal government, we don't do politics here on this show. Y'all know that.
Yeah, again, I don't know what I'm talking about, but
that is where the American government can step in and say, hey, now I did hear that Biden had said that they were going to cover 100% of the damages And, like, man, don't talk before you know it, because we talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in damages.
Well, I'm assuming that's why he said that. So I actually saw that clip before I learned this about the state taking all that over and stuff. So that's probably why he was saying that, because the state just can't do it.
Well, I hope he is. With that being said, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families, the people, the wildlife, everything that's affected by these wildfires in California. If you can, make sure to jump over to one of the donation sites. There are multiple. Donate what you can to help those in
Definitely
need.
Try to donate to like a local charity or fund. I know, I don't want to endorse any charities because I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot out there, but I know that Los Angeles Regional Food Bank takes donations, and they're directly helping those people right now.
Now, there you go, y'all. If you can,
Red Cross, just try to donate how you can.
Donate what you can. But we do have to move forward, even though that does suck for everybody involved. I want to say again to all of our small businesses, even the ones that if you donate, that's great. But all of the people looking for some free ad space, please make sure to email us here at the show and give us your company's info, what services you provide, all of those things, where you're located. And we are looking to help small businesses out with a 30-second free ad right here on the show. Again, all small businesses, please reach out to us. We are looking forward to helping out small businesses. With that being said, do you know what today is, bruh? Like, do you know what this show is?
I have no idea. You're gonna make me feel bad.
Not at all, bro. This is our
what
10th,
is it? What
this
day
is our
is it?
10th show.
Oh, okay. I knew that.
Okay. And
I thought it was a trick question.
To some people, that may not be a big thing, but to me, it is. And I felt like I needed to take a minute and let our, listeners and viewers know why the 10th episode is such a milestone to me. So when I met Louis, when I lived in Charlotte, I had went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting because I wanted to do sports broadcasting. And I graduated, and I wound up becoming a part of a show that I had did with some guys that had went there previously. Did the show for a while, had a lot of fun, wound up leaving the show for different reasons. And since then, I had always wanted to do a podcast. I had always wanted to put my takes out there and everything like that, and struggled to find a way to start. Well, situation happened. Things got to where I could do it. And then, Louis doing everything that he does with Quasar's Creative Studios, we wound up coming together, even taking the month of December off. So doing the 10th episode is so cool to me. And I appreciate everybody that's been involved. Louis and everything that he's done to make this show look and sound phenomenal. The
what
followers.
I do, man. Of course.
I mean, just everybody, people that have subscribed, people that are going to subscribe. It just means a lot to have that support. So thank you guys, for the 10th episode. And I can't wait to do this again at 50 and at 100. So with all that, we fitting jump into it. As y'all know, we record the show on Sunday night. So I'm currently watching Washington and Tampa right now. So if y'all see me look up and down, that's what I'm doing. Okay. But we're going to start with the college football playoff, right? I got to say it. I called it, baby. I called it. Go listen to the last show. Okay. I called Ohio State and I called Notre Dame. Okay. So, but what's crazy is if you look at the format that we have this year versus the format in previous years, Ohio State and Notre Dame wouldn't have even been in the playoffs. If we were still doing the 4 teams, they wouldn't have been in the playoffs. But they look like the 4 or the 2 best 2 teams in the country right now. And the way they've played, the way Ohio State went out and played Texas, that hard-nosed, that was a great game from Ohio State. Every time Texas tried to do something, Ohio State answered. And then Notre Dame had a great first half, kind of let it get away from them in the second half, but was able to pull it together. That defense really stood up strong. So I called it. But, that D-line for Notre Dame is really, really impressive. The way that they were able to get after Penn State's quarterback in the clutch, getting around the edge, forcing him to make that bad throw, which wound up in the interception, which gave Notre Dame the ability to get down and kick that field goal. That's what makes Notre Dame good. Notre Dame's athleticism and speed on that defense is something to worry about. Even with as good as Ohio State's offensive line is, it's gonna be fun to watch that matchup. That in the trenches matchup is gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. But the question I have with that game, with Notre Dame and Penn State, is should Penn State have played for overtime? Should they have gone out and just say, hey, we're going to kneel the ball, we're going to go ahead and play for overtime? You had a lot of ground to cover and not a whole lot of time. And you had a little bit of momentum there in the second half, but other than that, you really weren't able to put a whole lot together consistently. So should you have played for overtime? I think maybe you should have. I think, I know you play to win, you don't play not to lose, but maybe you should have played for overtime in that situation, because who knows what would have happened. So it's just one of those things. And then when you look at the Ohio State-Texas game, again, Ohio State came out strong, scored first, then kind of really just kept Texas at bay. Texas pulled it 14-7, and then gets it 14-14 in the third quarter. But then Ohio State just blows up in the fourth quarter. I mean, really just turns it up. And then Jack Sawyer, that play against his former roommate Ewers, when Ewers was at Ohio State, was, Ryan Day called it. That made Jack Sawyer a Buckeyes legend. He comes around the corner, strip sack or sack fumble, picks it up, and then takes off. Wonderful play to end the game, and that really did turn Jack Sawyer into a Ohio State legend. Texas, I give Texas credit, though. Texas was able to shut down Ohio State's number one receiver, Smith. I think he had 3 catches, maybe 7 yards. He didn't have a good game. But the rest of Ohio State's offense, and that's what makes Ohio State so good, is Ohio State has their number 2 and their number 3 receiver can step up and play. Their running back, I really like Henderson. I really like him. He is a hard-nosed, down-the-hill runner. And then you got Judkins, who is a little bit of a shifty kind of running back. So that's a good 1-2 punch. I'm interested to see what Notre Dame is going to do with that when you look at who are they going to try to take away? Is Smith going to have another game where he's only got 3 catches? Or is he going to be able to find a way to break free, get down the field like he likes to do? We'll have to see. What Texas has in front of them is the fact that the Manning era is now going to be starting. Ewers is going to enter the draft. We'll see where he goes. I think his combine numbers are probably going to determine whether or not he goes up or down. I think people think he's a good quarterback, but he just didn't have great showings at the end of his career. But the Manning era is starting. Arch Manning is going to be the starter in Texas next year. So I'm interested to see what Texas and Sarkisian, what they do with Arch Manning. And then Notre Dame, where the position that Notre Dame is in now, getting the game against Indiana, getting into the playoffs. Now, I think Notre Dame needs to join a conference. I think the NCAA should step in and maybe make them join a conference. But we'll see what happens there. But they get in, they take Indiana down, and then they go from there. And the game against Penn State, like I said, was back and forth. It was a very defensive struggle. And, Drew, Penn State's quarterback, that one interception really hurt him. He only threw the ball 23 times. He had 135 yards. So Notre Dame did a really good job of kind of making that run game from Penn State beat them. And when you look at Riley Leonard, this is why he transferred from Duke. This is why he came to Notre Dame, to play in the national championship, to try to give that Irish that elusive championship that they've been missing. Every time they make it, they just lay an egg. So what's going to happen? Is Notre Dame going to get over the hump? Is Riley Leonard going to be able to get Notre Dame over the hump? It'll be interesting. I think Love has got to be, more involved, and that's Jeremiah Love, the running back for Notre Dame. I definitely think he's got to get more involved. I love that they had Leonard moving, using his legs. I think that's going to be very important against Ohio State. You got to get Ohio State moving left and right. You got to get them moving east and west. So, we'll see what happens. Greathouse is a phenomenal receiver for Notre Dame. I hope he has another big game. He had 7 catches for 105 yards against Penn State. So I hope he has another big game. Looking up, man, Tampa just scored. It's 17-13, 4.5 minutes to go in the third. Man, this is crazy. With that, we're going to jump into the NFL. So this was so far, right? This first game that we're going to talk about is the only game that I called incorrectly. I called the Chargers to beat the Texans, and that is not at all what happened. Okay? Justin Herbert, he's overrated. He's overrated. Okay? You go out against the Texas team that the defense kind of has been up and down all year, and you throw up 4 interceptions. That's crazy. Okay, he's overrated. And then you get blown out. You put up 12 points. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, I don't want to hear the Justin Herbert talk. CJ was able to get going towards, the middle of the game and moving forward. He got his legs going. They got him running. Looked like he kind of settled in. He looked uncomfortable. To me, he looked uncomfortable in the first part of the game. But I'm just so, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just so over the hype of quarterbacks that don't do anything. I know a lot of people would say, like me, I'm a big Dan Marino fan, but Dan Marino never won a championship, but he got there. So I don't get the Herbert love. I don't. What are you gonna do? I don't get it. But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna have to see what the Chargers do. They need some help on defense. Bosa's getting up there in age. What are you gonna do? Khalil Mack, is he gonna come back? So there's definitely some potential holes in that defense that are going to need to be looked at. As far as the Texans go, on to KC. What are you going to do? Are we going to see a Mahomes-led team that is rusty because they've basically been off for 3 weeks? The starters really haven't played since, I think, like the Christmas Day game. So that'll be an interesting, at least, beginning of the game. I think the Texans need to get Joe Mixon involved in that game early and often. You got to keep Mahomes off the field. That's how you beat Kansas City, is you keep him off the field. Nico Collins has got to have a big day, and C.J. Stroud, he can't start off slow. if there's one thing we learned about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, especially in the playoffs, is you can't start slow. You have got to come in early and hit them. You've got to hit them with haymakers. That's what you got to do. So the Texans are going to be moving on and going to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round in Kansas City. This will be Kansas City's first game in this playoffs, as they were the 1 seed in the AFC. We will see what happens. I will give you my pick for that game and the Ohio State Notre Dame game in the quick hitters coming up later. Moving on to my favorite game so far. And I'm going to start with Run, Henry, Run. I don't care if he's a Raven. As a Titans fan, it is so amazing to watch this dude do what he does. Okay, and if you want to know what's different from the Baltimore team last year to this year, it's Derrick Henry. Last year, everybody criticized them because they only ran the ball, I think, like 16 times or something like that in that playoff loss. Now, you have a guy that you can give the ball to early and often, and by the time the fourth quarter comes, these defenses are so tired, it's not even funny. Okay? Henry rushed for 186 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's the greatest. I don't care what you say. I don't care. Derrick Henry is the greatest running back of all time. I know. Barry Sanders this, O.J. Simpson that. I get it. Emmitt Smith here, LaDainian Tomlinson. Derrick Henry is the greatest running back of all time. Bruh, did you see that stiff arm? Mika Fitzpatrick was the victim this time. Boy, just took him, just mushed him. Okay, and then just took off. The team is scary good. And that was without Zay Flowers. Okay, Rashad Bateman steps up. Okay, Mark Andrews, beast. Isaiah Likely steps up. Like, yo, this offense is ridiculous. And then you add in Lamar Jackson, which potentially the MVP this year. Like, I mean, the dude is just unstoppable. What do you do? Between him and Derrick Henry, they had one drive that was 13 plays, 85 yards, ended in a touchdown, and they only ran the ball. They didn't throw the ball once. When you have an offense that can do that, okay, that can take over a drive, basically take over a whole quarter of a game, they are going to be hard to beat. That is a hard recipe to beat. 13 plays, 85 yards, and a touchdown. And you got a guy in Ricard, your fullback, number 42, who you can just put in front of Derrick Henry, and then what are you going to do? I'm telling you. And now you got the defense that looks phenomenal. You got Owens on one side. You got Van Noy on the other side. You got big, I think it's 97, Joseph in the middle. Okay. You got Patrick Queen. You have Humphreys. You have Hamilton. I mean, this is just, I think they have 9 Pro Bowlers. 9 on that team. That's crazy. That's insane. But they get to go to Buffalo. Okay. We saw that game, a rematch of a game earlier in the year. So I believe Buffalo won that one like 27-19 or something like that. But this is a different team. And I'm looking to see that. Speaking of Buffalo, look, I like Bo Nix. I do. And they came out swinging. I think he threw like a 35-yard touchdown pass, to start the, opening drive, but then 0. Buffalo went on to score the next 31 points. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to say when a team wins 31-7, but I'm interested to see what Denver looks like next year with an offseason under Bo Nix's belt with Sean Payton. Cortland Sutherland looked phenomenal. So I think they're going to need some more offensive weapons. I think that Bo is going to need some people to spread the ball out to. But Bo looked good. He doesn't look afraid to throw the ball. He doesn't look like the game is too fast for him. So it looks like Sean Payton got his guy. Then when you look at the Buffalo side of the ball, they got their run game going early. Cooks got going early. Allen got mixed in with it. I'd like to see Allen get down more. He takes way too many big hits, especially those shoulder hits that, if you do that against Baltimore, you're gonna get hurt. Patrick Queen is gonna hurt you. You let Van Noy hit you like that. You let Owens hit you like that. I mean, even Hamilton coming down, he's a heavy hitter from that safety position. So I'd like to see Josh Allen get down a little more. But the game is in the bag when Trubisky comes in with 3 minutes left. They say, hey, we're gonna get our guys a couple minutes extra rest, and we're gonna get ready for Baltimore. Baltimore's coming in, and that is going to be a heavyweight fight. That's the game that I would have loved to seen in the AFC Championship game. But I mean, we're getting it like we're getting it. Who do y'all? I have my pick, but I want to know who y'all think is going to win that game. Drop it in the comment below. Let me know who y'all think are going to win all of these games. But we're going to see. This is going to be a real heavyweight fight. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Cooks versus Henry. The pass defense for Buffalo makes me a little nervous, especially if Zay Flowers is healthy. Because if Zay Flowers is able to go, that gives them that vertical threat that Lamar Jackson loves to throw the ball to. And Mark Andrews, has just exploded. 11 touchdowns in the regular season. I believe that led all tight ends. So we're going to have to see what happens there. When we look at the next game, before I talk about the game, I have got to talk about this. And Louis, I got to know what you think about this, right? Because you're a music guy. I absolutely love when the national anthem is played by the saxophone. When you get a good sax player and they played it.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
So when we get done, go pull up the national anthem from today, from the Philadelphia game. They had a sax player do it.
I can pull it up right now.
He did it phenomenally. I love it. I love the axe, bro. For those of you who don't know, the saxophone is also called an axe. And it just sounds, it's just money. It's just money is what it is. I don't know. What do y'all think? Is it just me? I know the guitar sounds good too, but when maybe it's the New Orleans boy in me with the blues and the jazz. I like the saxophone. I don't know.
Smooth, bro. That jacket. Jacket go hard. Put that stank on it. Put that stank on it. Put that stank on it. Woo. Go ahead.
I'm telling you.
He snapped.
Bro, look at him going. Look at him going.
He snapped it.
Straight snap. Straight snap.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you. That is, I don't care. I've heard people sing it. I've heard, bruh, listening to somebody do it on the saxophone, it's just, it is, nah, there ain't nothing like it.
He put that stank on it too.
Bruh, ain't nothing like it. It's crazy, bruh. And it was wild that he did it in Philly because Philly's O-line is just nasty. Y'all like how I did that? So I'm watching the Philly game, obviously, because I watched the national anthem. And the one thing I learned today is that Philadelphia offensive line is something special. They got 3 Pro Bowlers on that offensive line. Now I see how Saquon Barkley rushed for 2,000 yards. Okay, because their center, Cregan, I can't remember his name. London or Landon, the right tackle, and then their left guard. So left guard, center, and right tackle all made the Pro Bowl. And their left tackle, Maliata, we know this. I can't pronounce people's names. Y'all get the hell over it. Okay. He is an all-pro tackle, so he's ridiculous. But that game was interesting. That Philly game was I thought Philly was going to be able to control the game a little more, and that was a defensive battle. Okay, if you like defensive games, this was your game. Okay, but I really thought that Saquon would be able to have a bigger day. Now, he still ran for 119 yards. I get it, right? Jalen Hurts ran for another 36 yards. The team rushed for 169 yards. But it was crazy how, other than the 10 points that Philly put up in the first, it was, field goals. It was, that's really what it was. And Philly pulled away late, and it just, I don't know. It was a weird game. It was just, it was a weird game. I think that Green Bay needs to get some weapons. Watts was down. Dobbs goes out. It kind of forced the attention on Jacobs and Wicked. So I think it was just a tough game for them after Dobbs went down, and with Watson being out with a torn ACL. Kraft is a really, really good tight end. We know that. Reed came up, had 4 catches, but it's just one of those things where I think it was just Philly had too much. I don't think that Green Bay had enough. And it's going to take some time for Green Bay to get those pieces. I don't think it's going to happen in one offseason. I don't think it's going to happen in one draft. So I think that it'll be curious to see what happens there. The Philly defense gets 3 picks. Was Jordan Love's arm more of a question mark than what we thought it was? He had that issue where his elbow was hit and he had lost feeling. Earlier last week, he was supposedly going to do a sleeve, but he decided not to do the sleeve. How healthy was he? How hurt was he? I think that's going to really kind of play a role in what happens here. But either way, Green Bay goes home. Philly, we are going to wait to find out. We have to see who wins between Washington and Tampa tonight, and then we have Minnesota and LA playing tomorrow night or Monday night for y'all watching this when it releases. So we'll have to see what happens with all of that. Okay. And I forgot. So I picked Baltimore, right? I picked Buffalo. Cool. I picked Philly. Cool. So right now, your boy looking good. Okay. Right now, I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. of the 6 games so far, including OSU and Notre Dame. All right, we got Washington and Minnesota. We'll see what happens there. Okay, but so far from this Washington game with Tampa, Baker Mayfield is a lot better than I think people give him credit for. Mike Evans is a dog. Bucky, their running back, a rookie running back, is really good. I think he's earned the starting spot. And then, when you look at Washington, Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, is one of the best deep ball throwers while under pressure that we have seen in a very, very long time. Okay, they've gotten him involved in the run game, which I think is important. But I think if they do happen to beat Tampa, they're going to have to get Zach Ertz involved. They're going to have to get some of these other playmakers involved. But we'll see what happens there. I will make sure to give y'all updates on TikTok and Instagram about tonight's game and Monday night's game, Minnesota and the Los Angeles Rams. Those are the games. Big news coming into today. Mike Vrabel has been hired as the new head coach of the New England Patriots. I think we all kind of saw this coming. We were not surprised. I think that was the writing on the wall when Gerard Mayo was let go. So, we saw that. And they're getting a phenomenal coach, right? So not only was he a linebacker for the New England Patriots, he won 3 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. He was on the team from 2001 to 2008. And then he goes on to become the coach of the Tennessee Titans from 2018 to 2023. I loved Mike Vrabel. Okay, I was one of the people that was highly upset when he was fired. I didn't think it was right that he got fired. I think that John Robinson had put him in a really bad situation. He had led us to the AFC Championship game in 2019. He was Coach of the Year in 2021. So I did not like him getting fired, but I think that he is definitely a part of that Belichick tree that New England kind of wants to stick to. He's a defensive-minded coach, which we know Robert Kraft likes. Belichick was a defensive-minded coach. Gerard Mayo, defensive-minded coach. So we know that that's what New England wants. They want a defensive-minded coach. But either way, I applaud Mike Vrabel, my man, getting another head coaching job, and I think that he is going to do phenomenal. I think Drake May is going to excel with the coaches that Vrabel puts around him, because if there's one thing Vrabel knows, it's ball. Okay, Vrabel is a football guy. He is a football coach. He lives, breathes, and eats football. At one point, the dude even said that he would cut off his manhood for a Super Bowl while he was the coach of the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Okay, you want to talk about commitment? That's commitment. I ain't cutting my manhood off for nothing. Okay. But we'll see what happens. I hope he does well. I don't want to see another dynasty in New England but I hope he does well. But those are the updates on the college football playoffs and the NFL playoffs. Make sure to watch the TikTok and Instagram page. Please make sure to go follow on Instagram too. We all know that this is pending potential shutdown on TikTok could happen. And if it does, we'll definitely need that support on Instagram, and following us, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing on every other platform will always be appreciated. We got Ain't No Way coming up next after the break, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. This is our favorite segment. And it is
no way.
Ain't No Way. And real quick, before we get into ours, because Louis has one today, remember, y'all, if y'all shoot us over a personal Ain't No Way story on the email, all right, shoot it over to us. If we like it and we put it on, we will send you the official Ain't No Way hoodie. It'll be the first one. I'm waiting to make one so we can get something, sent out to somebody. We'll put the number 1 on it and everything.
Yeah, it's
all right. So send that to the email that y'all just saw popped up there. Don't be afraid. We will keep everything anonymous. We will not put names on there. And the way I am, I'm not even snitching. Like if you broke the law, I'm not snitching. I'll change the state, everything.
Yeah, don't incriminate yourself. I mean, we're not going to use your name. I mean,
yeah, but don't like. I don't want to hear about you shooting nobody. Like, don't send us that.
Don't give us too much information.
Yeah, don't. But look, so my ain't no way for this week, right?
What you got, man?
I'm gonna read the headline to you, and then I will read the story.
All right.
I spent $17,000 having my ribs removed so I could have a smaller waist. Now I'm having them turned into a crown.
What?
Yes. So
where is this? This in California, ain't it?
It's not. I was surprised when I saw what state it was in.
Where is that?
So this is the article. Some people will do just about anything to get their dream body. A trans woman from Kansas City, okay, that's Kansas from Missouri, which is wild, has 6 ribs removed in order to achieve a smaller waist.
6?
And now she has a bizarre plan to turn her spare parts into a crown.
Hold up. How many ribs does a woman have?
I don't know. So she had 3 removed from each side, right? It goes into detail. It says she has used social media to share the journey of the procedure as well as the recovery process, gathering mixed responses from viewers. I'm 3 days in getting 3 ribs removed on each side, she said in a video before the procedure. I'm going to, and this is how I know this is where it really just turns into an ain't no way. She goes on to say, I'm going to have an Emily barbecue. During recovery, she shared online that she got her ribs removed for cosmetic procedure, and they let her keep the removed ribs. And then there is a picture of her fucking ribs.
Okay.
This is. I plan on making them into. I plan on making them into a crown. And then, bro, this is how sick people are. I have had people say that they would make them into chew toys or boil them down into a broth. James said, personally, I think my meat would taste delicious.
What is this story from? Bruh, what is this? Where did you find this?
So I found it on the New York Post, right?
What?
So I trust me, I had to check and make sure it was credible, but I cannot believe for the life of me that we are living in the world that we are living in. People are struggling the way they are struggling, but these people got $17,000 to take their ribs out. Like, who's doing that?
Horrific.
That I don't know if y'all remember, there was a show back in the day called Nip Tuck. This sounds like some shit off of that show.
By the way, they only have 24 ribs, 12 sets.
So you got 12 on each side.
12 on each side.
Well, now she got 9 on each side. You know
what does that do to your organs? Like, how does your body handle that? Isn't that supposed to protect your lungs?
So
and your guts?
What I would want to know is, has anybody like gone up to her since then and just like punched her right in the just caught her with a left hook right in the ribs?
Blah.
I'm just saying.
That's cruel, man. Why you think like that? That's terrible.
Man, if you take your damn ribs out, you deserve it. Okay, I ain't trying to hear all that nonsense.
That's horrible. Nah, I mean, hey, people do wild stuff, man.
Bro, but
you heard about that guy that is trying to look like a reptile? His entire body's tattooed. He's got,
he's got little bumps.
They have implants now that people get They're called like they're horns. You can get them on your head or anywhere. They're called dermal implants.
Yeah, he's got the slit
people,
in his tongue. You can
put it on like your hand or whatever, and they just put implants in their body. Yeah, you can slit your tongue now. There's a lot of sick stuff you can do these days, and people are doing it. You can dye.
That's the problem.
You can tattoo. You can tattoo your eye, like the whites of your eye.
Now look,
really,
I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty dope.
That's terrifying. But
I have
seen pretty scary.
I have seen people with it, and you know, you have ink. I'm tatted all over.
That's a whole nother level.
I might do that. Like that shit.
That's crazy. Now, what color?
Black.
That's terrifying, bro. I couldn't
Black.
see you. Why would you do that?
Like, I'm black
I don't
or red,
know, man. I got like a business to run. I can't be talking to people with black eyes.
I mean, well, yeah,
like,
obviously.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously couldn't do it.
Nah.
The position I'm in.
It's body modifications.
It's crazy.
It gets crazy.
But that, look, I'm just saying, that's my ain't no way. Because when I came across it, I'm like, bro, you could have just sent me the $17,000 and I'd have paid my wife to break your ribs for you. Like,
right, you should have done it at the crib.
Yeah, we could have done it right here. Like, shit, you only in KC. We'd have drove up to you. Like,
that's crazy. Ain't no way, bro.
Bro, ain't no way. What you got for us this week?
My story isn't that crazy. It's more interesting. It's kind of nerdy, man. It's a science story.
Hey,
but it definitely, when I seen it, I was like, ain't no way.
That's what counts.
There's an opportunity for you and all of our listeners to learn something interesting today.
I like it.
So apparently, scientists in the Swiss Federal Laboratories for Material Science and Technology, EMPA. So Swiss scientists have invented a mushroom fungus. Listen, I won't say mushroom, but fungi.
You got my attention. with mushrooms.
Right. They do a lot of incredible things, right? You put them in your coffee. They make you trip. They're great for inflammation. You can eat them with your steaks, saute them. Mushrooms are incredible. Well, now they've created electric mushroom. So basically, it's a mushroom battery. A bio battery made out of fungi.
What?
That generates electricity.
See, this sounds very simple, but this sounds like the start of some like
insane
Resident Evil type shit.
Yeah, it started with the mushroom batteries. Next thing you know,
what was the downfall of human society? The mushroom battery.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's also 3D printed. So I don't know if you're familiar with the 3D printing world these days.
I am.
You can 3D print organic material now.
But then it's
so they
not
actually
organic.
3D print, well, right, like living tissue, basically. Like they 3D print like organs and stuff.
I've heard of that.
They start off like 3D print it and then like let it grow.
Yeah.
So they're already doing that. So they basically found a way to 3D print using this fungal material, and it's non-toxic. It literally, you just add it to water, which sounds insane, right? It's a fuel cell. It's made out of 2 different types of fungi.
That sounds absolutely fucking bizarre.
It's insane because, like, what? Fungus does so many things. You know, they discovered a fungus that can consume, I think it's like oil or some type of waste, some type of like plastics and oils and shit. Like it eats it. So they try to use it on like oil spills or places. It's a certain type of contaminant. I can't remember what it is. It might
so we
even
could take
nuclear.
it and throw it on top of Trash Island.
It might even be nuclear, radiation. Like it absorbs nuclear radiation in places where there's a lot of radiation. Anyway, I sound like a fucking nerd right now.
Nerd.
But I thought that was insane insane.
That is very insane.
It. Yeah,
it's very interesting too, though.
It's 3D printed. It's like a little fungal wafer, and they use 2 different fungus. It's dry, non-toxic. You can carry it around, and all you got to do when you want to lick that. There's diagrams and stuff. I don't know how this stuff works, but you just add it to water and some type of nutrients mixture, and it like starts to react. That's insane, bro. I don't know.
That's just crazy.
But it's a biological battery. There's no metal. You know what I'm saying?
That's.
Yeah, so that's my no way.
You're a nerd.
I know. I think that's crazy. I saw it, and I'm trying to come with some stories. Trust me.
I like it.
It's the beginning of the year. There's going to be plenty that'll happen, I'm sure.
Hey, I like it. But that ain't no way for this week, y'all. All right, y'all. So I got the quick hitters for you, and then I got 2 quick little things for you. Of course, the quick hitters are going to be who I think is going to win what games. Go ahead and give me Ohio State over Notre Dame. I like the way that Ohio State defense is playing. I like the way that the run game for Ohio State is getting after it. And I do think Smith, the number 1 receiver there, is going to have a better game. I think Notre Dame is going to struggle to keep them down. So give me Ohio State. Give me Kansas City over the Texans. Okay, I know Kansas City's been off for a little bit, but for guys like Travis Kelce, that offensive line, Chris Jones, some of their guys that are getting up there in age, I think that time off was great. And Patrick Mahomes is not a rookie. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is not a young quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to take time off, and he knows how to get the dub. Give me KC. In the heavyweight fight, what I think is going to be next week, give me the Baltimore Ravens. I like Derrick Henry. That's what it comes down to. If you can't stop the run, you cannot win in the playoffs. Okay, and I think Baltimore learned from last year. That's why they went out and signed Derrick Henry in free agency. And I think that, Justice Hill coming back is a nice change of pace from Derrick Henry. Let's see if Zay Flowers is able to get onto the field, but we'll see what happens there. And then again, we got to see who's going to be what, who's going to play who for the NFC divisional rounds. So make sure to check us out on TikTok and Instagram, the Full Blitz podcast, on those 2 platforms for your NFC divisional round picks. Okay. Here at the Full Blitz, me, Louie, we want to thank y'all for all of the support that y'all have given us so far over the first 10 episodes, from even just the small amount of subscribers that we have, the followers that we have, the people that have followed us on social media. We appreciate that so much. All shows start somewhere, and this is where ours start. This is where the Full Blitz podcast story starts. Me, Louie, guys that have been friends for 10 plus years, just trying to take something and then turn it into something. And we really appreciate all the love and support that we get from you guys. Comments, shares, everything. Keep it up, because remember, guys, the one thing I can promise you is that we are only getting better. Okay?
Yes,
this
sir.
time next year, we'll be better than we were now, and I can guarantee you that. With all that being said, guys, I appreciate being with us with 10 episodes. Thank you, guys. Look forward to doing 11 and then 30 and then 100. All right?
We're going to be up there.
Peace and love. Y'all have a good night.
Holla, 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 holla.